My name is Andy, and this is the most magical podcast on earth. When I'm not on holiday at Walt Disney World, I'm planning a holiday to Disney. And when I'm not planning a holiday to Disney, I'm talking about Disney with other UK fans like me who make the trip to Orlando and the House of the Mouse. So whether you're a parks professional or a Florida first-timer, this is the podcast for you. Each episode, I'll be chatting to other Disney superfans to share memories of their magical times, answering your Walt Disney World questions, getting you all the latest news from the parks, and finding out what's happening right now in Orlando. So get your ears on as we take you to the most magical place on earth. This is the most magical podcast on earth as part of the Secret Recordings Network. It's the last episode of the year. So I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you for listening, to thank you for following and sharing on the socials, and a big, big thank you to anybody who has been a guest this year or over previous years. I cannot do this podcast without you sharing your Disney World memories and stories. And of course, if you'd like to be on the podcast, we're always looking for guests in the new year, because we're just going to roll on. Without you, there'd be no podcast. So do get in touch if you fancy coming on. It doesn't matter when the last time was you went. If you're going soon or you've not been for years, it doesn't matter. Give me a shout. We are at PodMagical on all the socials. And don't forget to like us as well, and like us and follow us and subscribe to the podcast, because we will take a New Year break. So I'll be back later on in January. So don't miss the next episode of the new year. Hit that subscribe button and it'll land in your inbox as soon as we've recorded it. We've got a great podcast around the year with more Christmas stories from Luke, who again has just got back from Florida. I think he might be more of a Universal fan than a Disney fan. We'll have to wait and see. We'll have the latest news. We'll have everything that's going on for New Year and Christmas at Disney at the end of the podcast as well. And another question. Thank you to Paul, who sent me a message, who wants to know, this is about a friend of his who's going to be going in March. Any tips for gluten-free dining at Disney World? My friend celiac, so needs to know where is good to eat. Anywhere is the answer to this at Disney World. Any of the restaurants, if you are on a gluten-free diet, make sure when you book, when you check in, and when you get your server, just tell them everything. They'll talk you through the menu. They might even bring the chef out to talk through things for you. But if you're gluten-free or you've got any kind of dining allergies or anything like that, Disney's probably the best place to go, because they can just guide you through it. Also, here is a great top tip. Erin McKenna at Disney Springs, that bakery, the M. McKenna Bakery, is gluten-free. It's vegan and gluten-free, so tell your friend, go in there, go wild, treat themselves. Any questions, or you want to be a podcast in the new year, just give me a shout at PodMagical across all the socials. Welcome to the podcast, Luke Marsden. How are you?
Hi, Andy. Yeah, I'm good. Thank you. You know, I must admit, Andy, I'll be honest, I didn't know this podcast existed until you asked me to do it.
It exists. It's a little bit niche, but you can find your tribe if you love Disney and all Universal theme parks. We're all here. And you've literally just come back.
Literally, as you can see, I've got a Donald Trump style tan, I would say. I'm looking semi-orange.
Very orange.
But I have just come back. Literally, I got back, well, actually, about a week ago, I came back. But it has been, yeah, I mean, you know what it's like, Andy. This time of year, the UK is very, very, very cold. And Florida is the direct opposite. I needed some winter sun. And that's why I flew out there. And I've been very fortunate to have gone for the last 3 consecutive years in a row around this time. So I usually fly out on Black Friday and then come back about 10 days later. So, yeah, it's been great. And I did Disney last year fully for a few days, and the year before for a few days. But this year I decided, for a number of reasons, financially, I'll be honest, it's very expensive.
Yes.
I decided to do the 2 special nights themed events instead, which I've never done before.
Oh, brilliant. So you must be like so Christmassy right now, with days to go before Christmas. Have you reached your Christmas peak? Have they overdone it for you?
I'll be honest, I think when you're on Main Street in Walt Disney World in the Magic Kingdom and they're pumping the fake snow down onto the parade, and there's the Christmas tree there, you do think for a moment, wow, okay, this is pretty magical, I'm not going to lie. But then you remember that actually you're in 28 degree heat. Then when you hit back to the UK, -2, I came back on the day. Then I'm thinking maybe the Christmas magic's worn off a bit. But I am, we're days away now. Yeah. I am feeling very Christmassy, yeah.
So you did Mickey's Very Merry. You did Jollywood Nights.
Did Jollywood Nights. I don't know if you want to cover that first.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Before I did Jollywood Nights, I wasn't going to do it, but because I mentioned earlier that I couldn't really afford to buy a big Disney ticket this year, I didn't want to shell out the £500 or whatever it is for the week or whatever. No, there must be a way of doing Hollywood Nights, for example. Going on Tower of Terror, one of my favorite ever rides, and then like the Aerosmith ride, I really enjoy as well. Then I saw Jollywood Nights come up, basically a Hollywood themed glitz and glam evening access event to Hollywood studios. So I bought my ticket thinking this sounds amazing. Then, as I'm sure you might have covered on this podcast, Andy, there was the reviews of the first night that came out on Jollywood Nights. So bear in mind, this is a non-refundable ticket that cost me 130. No, it might have been £150 for Jollywood Night. So £150 ticket, non-refundable, and I'm reading all these, frankly, horrors about what happened on the opening night: overcapacity, lack of staff information, lack of any sort of direction of the event. And the weather wasn't great on opening night. So I was very concerned that I was going to Jollywood Nights and I wouldn't feel anywhere near jolly. That was my biggest concern. So Q, the Monday I flew out in Florida on the Friday, and then I was doing Jollywood Nights a few days later. So the weather was beginning to pick up, which I was very pleased about. There was no sign of rain. And I went into it with an open mind because I had read that Disney had corrected some of the problems that Jollywood Nights had been encountering. They put on more staff and made it a bit more accessible. I will be honest. I expected, just like Mickey's Very Merry, I thought the queue would be huge and I'd be waiting ages to get in. You can access the park from 7 p.m. on Jollywood Nights, and then you've got the event ends at 1 a.m. So technically the event starts at 8:30. Sorry, the event starts at 8:30 p.m. till 12:30 a.m., but you can access from 7 p.m. So I thought, if I get there for 7, I can do the rides and things like that, and then the event starts at 8:30. I got there at about 7:20, and I walked straight through the gates. Not one member of staff stopped me and checked my ticket. I couldn't believe it. So I had my watch ready to do the magic wristband element of it, but not one member of staff actually checked I had a ticket for the event. They just handed me and you won't be able to see because I believe this is just podcast, not video, but I'll hold it up for you, Andy, to see. They handed me this fancy lanyard.
Fancy.
Which is a lanyard with a bit of an A5 piece of paper on, bit of cardboard, and you scan a QR code which tells you the events for the evening. So they handed me this lanyard, and off I went in the park. I was like, well, this doesn't bode well. Then the actual event started. And when I say it started, as in like 8:30, it's already dark at 7 p.m. in Florida at that time anyway. It was dark, and then they kind of lit up the tower in a a snow falling theme. Yeah. That was really good. And then I asked the staff kind of, where should I go? What should I do? And they basically said to me, scan the QR code and do whatever you want. And it didn't feel, because it's so large, Hollywood Studios, or not as large as Main Street, but it just felt detached from areas. So I went to the cantina at Galaxy's Edge and got myself a festive themed alcoholic beverage. That was fun. And then I rode, you had to do the virtual queue for the Smuggler's Run ride. So I managed to get onto that very easily, actually. Got onto that, did the Smuggler's Run ride. If my advice would be to anybody that hasn't experienced Smuggler's Run before, it probably isn't the best idea to do it on a theme night like Jollywood, because they do skip the preamble and the excitement build-up. They just get you on that ride. So if that was my first time doing the Smuggler's Run, I would be a bit, the Rise of the Resistance, it would be a bit disappointing for me because you miss all the theatrics at the beginning. You just get to do the actual ride element of it, which is still amazing.
Yeah.
So yeah, they don't do the theatrics. So the bit with the stormtroopers, the bit with the staff, a lot of that is toned down. You skip the bulk of the thing just to physically get you on that ride, which was a little disappointing. I'll be honest. I did do Smuggler's Run, the Millennium Falcon one. That obviously has its self-contained preamble, which is what happened. That was all fine. Again, 10-minute queue for that. So can you imagine Galaxy's Edge and a 10-minute queue? Crowd capacities were incredibly low. I'll be honest, Disney were correct when they said crowd capacities would be low. They were very low. I went on a Monday night. I walk on for Tower of Terror, walk on for Aerosmith. I did Aerosmith 3 times in a row.
Wow.
And I must have queued in the past on a normal day 60 minutes.
Yeah,
so
it can be.
Total walk on all the rides. That they did not exaggerate with that. It was a walk on. The crowds were all over the place. The food elements, I did try a few different varieties of the festive food that they had at the various different stalls spread across the park. I did try a peanut butter jelly Christmas themed donut. One of the sugariest things I've ever tasted, I'll be honest. Yeah, and then there was like a turkey, like a bit of a mac and cheese ball, but with turkey stuffed inside of it. That was quite good
Sounds
as well.
nice.
So the food was good. And I had a mistletoe martini, which I carried over to the was having a bit of a jazz singer on at the courtyard of Tower of Terror.
Yeah.
And I'd heard previously that was very busy and there wasn't enough staff for the bar there. Actually, they put on 3 bars with lots of staff, so it was busy, but you could easily get a drink within 5 minutes. The singer that they had on was singing all the Christmas tunes with a bit of a jazz band. The snowfall, the backdrop of Tower Tower. That was my best bit of the night, if I'm honest, because it felt like a bit of a glitzy Hollywood event, which I think was lacking from the entire evening. There was a lot of guests who'd really gone all out. One guy was wearing a totally sequined silver suit. Another guest was wearing like a ball gown. A lot of guests, I'll be honest, clearly stayed from the park during the day, so they were wearing t-shirts, shorts.
Yeah.
So there was a bit of a juxtaposition, I think, between staff and between guests who'd been during the day and guests in the evening. So my review of Jollywood Nights was, if I wanted to just come and do low capacity rides without having already got a Disney ticket, I would do it again. Whether it will be back next year for Disney is another question. I think they've got a lot of work to do on the actual event. But the plus side of it was when I thought, where's my free gift? You know, Mickey's Very Merry, you get a Christmas tree ornament. On the way out, they handed me 2 Jollywood Nights drinks coasters.
Wow.
Made out of wood. Very good quality. Yeah,
Good
I've already
quality
put
wood
drinks on them,
coasters.
and it's not like ripped off the design or anything. So I'm hoping these will stay the course. So yeah, really good quality drinks coasters. So that was Jollywood Nights in a nutshell.
Did you do any of the shows at Jollywood Nights? The Kermit one or the Nightmare Before Christmas?
And I'm annoying and disappointed in myself. I didn't, because actually those were the biggest queues.
Right.
Of all the nights, of all the things to do, the Nightmare Before Christmas and the Kermit one both have big queues. I've spoken to somebody, an influencer on a YouTube Disney Park influencer, who was at Mickey's Very Merry, and I spoke to her about these events. I believe the Nightmare wasn't quite the sing-along people expected it to be. There was only some elements that were sing-along, but it was very good to see. And the Kermit one, I believe, was very good, very magical. So I am gutted that I prioritised rides. And I want to add, character meet and greets. I did Mickey, Minnie, Donald Duck, and a few others. They were literally a queue of around 10 minutes. You don't queue for Mickey for 10 minutes. So
that's good.
These were exclusive Jollywood Nights costumes, and you also got to do like a boomerang-style reaction video opening a present that they set up for Jollywood, and you also got to do the backdrop of a big logo they had as well. All them limited capacity. So I prioritised those and rides over the shows, but I get people going just for the shows, you would still equally have just a great time and you'd be able to see the shows. They had so many on.
And over at Magic Kingdom, you did Very Merry?
I did Very Merry, and I got my Christmas tree ornaments. It's like a Nutcracker soldier thing, and it's got a 2023 tag on it. So you get that straight away at the beginning, but they have a 1-hour collection point of that, I want to add. If you don't collect it in the hour, you don't get it, whereas Jollywood Nights, they give you the coasters as you exit the park. Right. So that was a big one. Mickey's Very Merry. This event's been going for decades, I believe, so I didn't know what to expect from reading all the reviews. It was as magical as you get, but the crowd capacity is insane. I was queuing 30 to 40 minutes for the Haunted Mansion ride. And I'll be honest, you could queue that anyway at Magic Kingdom. So the ride capacities wasn't really low. I think they were between, I would say the maximum I queued was around 20 minutes, but it's still a long time. I didn't get on the new Tron ride because they had the virtual queue, and that went within minutes, so I didn't manage to do that. The parade, however, obviously is a Christmas-themed special parade. Snow coming onto Magic Kingdom, snow coming onto everywhere, and having all the big characters in exclusive Christmas gear was really, really good. Actually, was excellent. I thought the parade was good, and the fireworks spectacular at the end of the evening. They do that twice. I went for the later one. The crowd was less, which was good, and that was absolutely brilliant. Really Christmas themed fireworks with some inspired Christmas music. That was great. I didn't catch Mickey's show. Mickey does a special Christmas show as well. I didn't catch that because I was queuing for one of the other rides. Also exclusive meet and greet with characters. You can meet Jack and Sally from Nightmare Before Christmas in their own like Nightmare Before Christmas area, which was really cool. And I also met Mickey and Minnie and a few other characters that had exclusive outfits. My disappointment about that was, though, unlike Jollywood Nights, the photo pass isn't included, and I didn't know that until I'd got the photos done. So at Jollywood Nights, every character photo is included with your park ticket for 150 quid. As Mickey is about 10 to 20 pounds cheaper, they've clearly decided not to include the photo pass because you get the free cookies, 5 cookies across the park, you get your 5 drinks, and you get your Christmas ornament. They felt that those were better than having the photo pass. If I'm being totally honest, I would have preferred to have the photo pass included, because what I didn't do when I met the characters is have photos taken on my own iPhone, thinking the photo pass was included.
Yeah.
So then I had to, if I really wanted the photos, and I decided not to, cost of living, Christmas is coming up, I decided not to pay £70 to get access to those photos, but it is £70 for the day. So I do feel if they want to improve it, they should really have it increase the price slightly and build the photo pass in. That would be my inclusion. But I did thoroughly enjoy Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party. If I had to decide between the two, I will be honest, I did feel more Christmassy and more jolly at Mickey's Very Merry, because it's clearly an event they've refined over the years and will continue to refine. Jollywood Nights needs work, but the trade-off is very, very low crowd capacity. Mickey's Very Merry was a lot of people all the time who stayed till the end, because Mickey's Very Merry started at 7 and ended at 11:30. And you could access the park from 4 p.m. I went about 5 p.m. and there was about a queue of about 20 minutes to get into the park. So very busy, a lot of children, because it's a children-themed event, I would say, whereas Mickey's, with the Jollywood Nights, was aimed more at adults. Very few children, I would say, even at Jollywood Nights versus Mickey's Very Merry. My top tip would be to people is there are 2 parades. Don't attend the first parade. Go and do the characters during the first parade is on at 8:30, because you have less wait for the characters, more chance of getting all the characters you want. Then do the second parade at 10:30 p.m., which is even very busy but a low capacity versus the first parade. So that's what I did.
But also, you went to Universal. You did Christmas at Universal. You met Grinch. And did you see the Macy's parade and everything?
I did. I've seen it all. I love Universal. And I know this is a Disney predominant podcast. Yeah. I'm biased. I prefer Universal. Absolutely loved it, right? But I've done Universal over the last few years. And my one thing to do this year was meet the Grinch. And last year, it was a virtual queue, almost impossible to get on. They decided to do a standby line this year. And I'll be honest, I wasn't fully expecting the queues that I expected. I walked up to the standby line and saw it at 160 minutes. And I said to the member of staff, what is the likelihood that will come down? She said, come back at lunchtime, 1 p.m. I came back at lunchtime. It was 100 minutes to meet the Grinch. I thought, you know what? I can do 100 minutes. I made some friends in the queue. We had a great time talking, laughing, talking about things that probably aren't appropriate for this podcast, I'll be honest. But it was a great experience. You didn't feel rushed when you get to meet the Grinch. He plays up the character totally to a T. Like he asked provocative questions. He was taking the mick out of my British accent. He was also you felt like you had a lot of time with him. I went in with 2 people that met in the queue. We had our individual photos. You can buy an official Universal photo, but I use my own iPhone. And actually, you got about 10 minutes in there. You don't get 10 minutes with the Disney characters. We had 10 minutes in there with the Grinch. And he was just such a great character. I had some great videos, some great footage. That queue went up to 260 minutes that day, and that was the average. When I revisited the park for the days subsequent after meeting the Grinch, I did have a little smile to myself thinking, the people at the back of the queue, then they had a standby queue to get into the queue. I thought, you've got a long road ahead. If I was with a child, I would be concerned that they wouldn't meet the Grinch, because there's no queue jump. You cannot buy a fast pass to meet the Grinch. I asked because I was considering it, and I thought 100 minutes was long. But Macy's Parade, nobody's ever done the Universal Macy's Parade before. It's fantastic. You know, it's not the likes of Disney. Disney know how to do parades by 10 times better than Universal. But you know what? You see all the Universal characters, the Minions, all the people, Shrek, and all those people from the DreamWorks side of it. You got to see the giant Macy's star. Clearly, the sponsors are the beginning and the end. Father Christmas is sponsored at the end by Macy's. But it was great. It doesn't last as long as Disney, and you can always get good viewing points. They are very popular. a good tip would be it happens at 5:30 every day in Universal. If you want to ride some rides, do them whilst that parade is on, which I went back subsequent days and did. But Universal for the holidays, as the Americans call it, I think is a really magical place. Ariana Grande clearly has a buyout deal with Universal because the only soundtrack I heard for 2 weeks was that Christmas song that she does. So, and her entire album, I want to add. But it was great. And you know what? 30 odd degree heat, the entire decorations, they have a massive tree in the middle as you walk up to right near Rip Rock and Roller ride. It's great to get photos. They even had a Marilyn Monroe little show on the street with some dancers wearing like mistletoe and jingle bells. So they really go all out, I actually think, Universal, not to the level of Disney, but there's a lot more included, I think, in your actual Universal ticket that you get to experience for free at Universal. There's no free gifts or anything. And also one top tip is, and they did it even better this year than the last few years, is the Universal Holiday Store. If you want to stock up on your holiday items or ornaments or merchandise from previous franchises, previous years, there was 4 rooms of holiday merchandise, Christmas gifts in the massive Universal Holidays tribute store. So that was a big top tip that I saw in advance of going, then visited it. It was great to do all that. And actually, Universal are pushing Uurl the Squuurl as the mascot for the Universal Holiday Christmas season. You can see him with the photos bopping around the park. I unfortunately didn't see him, but he has got merchandise beyond merchandise. So they're clearly getting him as the face of Uurl the Squirrel. Is now the face of Holiday at Universal.
Yeah. He was the squirrel that, like, years ago, famously got into the big Christmas tree and nibbled through the cables and shorted the circuit. Apparently that was it. And I love how we in the UK call him Uurl the Squirrel. I was like, you go to mate, it's Uurl the Squirrel. Yeah, what? Uurl the Squirrel?
And I had so many people when I was in the holiday store talking about Uurl. I was like, are they talking about a different squirrel? Like, is there 2 squirrels? Turns out, no, it's the same guy. But it was honestly, I think the tribute store was one of my favorite things that I did because, you're into, especially like Whoville, by the way, not only the merch. I've never seen as much Grinch merch in my life. Now, I'm not wearing them for this podcast, Andy, but I did treat myself to some Grinch pajamas. And yeah, I'll have to send you a picture later. But basically, the Grinch pajamas were absolutely great, and I bought myself some of them. But the Grinch merchandise this year was huge, and I think more than any other year. And also the Christmas at Hogwarts stuff. So Christmas at Hogwarts was just something that they were doing for merchandise, but obviously you get a themed Hogsmeade anyway. It feels Christmassy all year round, but in particular at Christmas time. But the Christmas at Hogwarts stuff was, exclusive pajamas, pillowcases, mugs. My friend insisted I got her this exclusive mug, but that was selling big. So people really like the Christmas at Hogwarts holiday collection as well at Universal.
Yeah, they have that big projection show at night, don't they? On Hogwarts Castle, the Christmas one.
I didn't do that this year, but I have done it last year. It's the same projection show. It happens repeatedly throughout the evening from dusk, so you can see it multiple times if you really want. Fireworks right at the end of it, and they do some projections very similar to the Christmas theme of the Harry Potter films when they get into the Yuletide mistletoe stuff and then Hogsmeade. It was fantastic. Nobody's done that before. Highly recommend it. Lasts about 10 minutes. Worth going. And again, low capacity crowds. Later into the evening you go.
So what tickets did you buy then? So you just bought your Magic Kingdom party, your Hollywood party, and then your Universal ticket. Was that like a 14-day Universal ticket? Or
correct. I got an offer on 14-day 3 parks because I did Volcano Bay, because obviously Americans think 25 degrees is cold. Volcano Bay was empty. 30 people in the entire park all day at Volcano Bay, I would say. I couldn't believe. I'm like, where is everybody? Yeah. The sun is shining. It was the day after Black Friday, so I thought this would be a good time to go. I totally nailed it, I want to add, because it was great, the weather. I bought my 14-day Universal 3-park ticket, which was for the price of 7. I want to say I paid around £290 for that with a discount code on one of the websites. I can't remember which one, or attraction tickets or a different one. And then I bought the other 2 Disney tickets that you've just mentioned. So I didn't buy a 2-week Disney pass this year like I did in the previous years.
Yeah, it's a good thing is as well with Universal, there's no like upcharge for parties. If you want to see the Grinch show and the Hogwarts lights, that's just part of the regular day, everyday at Universal at Christmas.
I'll be honest, Andy, I think the Universal ticket is by far better value for money. I just went to sit in Universal, sit down with a drink for a lot of the times as well. I didn't even want to go on that many rides because I'd done them all. So it was great. You can just do that and go in. So, and again, like you just said, there's a lot of bonuses included in the Universal ticket versus all the add-ons that you start to have at Disney, because I think there was a lot of add-ons at Disney. There's no, like, you can buy the Express Pass if you really want. Personally, at Christmas time, you'll be queuing. The maximum I queued for a ride was 20 minutes, the entire thing at Universal. So, just one quick mention as well. The brand new Minions ride, the Minions Villain Con.
Yes.
Slightly disappointed, if I'm honest. It's just a shooter ride. You stand on a effectively moving conveyor belt and you just shoot with a gun, which feels like you're just playing a video game at home. So I was a little disappointed in that.
Bit rubbish. In terms of Christmas then, last question, who does it best, Disney or Universal?
Oh, it's a tough one, but I'm going to shout out to Universal. I think they do it best because it feels more like you can go and feel different every time you go. I think Disney, you feel the more commercialized element of Christmas, which I get. And if I had young children, it might be different, my response. But I preferred Universal at Christmas time.
Oh, Universal wins. Look, do you know what? We've not even talked about anything about Disney, about hotels or restaurants or your favourite attractions. So here's the deal, right? How about you come back on in the new year and we'll talk about all your favourite Disney stuff?
Deal. And we can talk about Disney that is non-Christmas related.
Yes.
I will do that. I need some mistletoe martini now.
Luke Marzer, lovely chatting to you. We'll speak to you in the new year. Have a good Christmas and have a magical day.
Thanks, Andy.
Thanks once again to Luke. You want to be on the podcast next year? Maybe you're going to Disney for Christmas or New Year? Give me a shout. At Pod Magical is where we are. There's no big news to tell you about on this episode of the podcast, but there's a couple of new places that have opened at Disney Springs. So Eat is open if you like Indian cuisine, and also Summer House on the Lake is now open at Disney Springs as well. They're open for reservations, so if you're going to go, there's a couple of new places to eat down at Disney Springs. If you're going to be going for Christmas, then remember that all the Christmassy stuff that you get at the party, the Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party that you usually have to pay for, from Christmas to New Year, that's included as your normal day now at Magic Kingdom. So the parade, where we'll switch for the Christmas parade, the fireworks will switch for Minnie's fireworks. So if you thought, oh, I'd love to go there, well, I've missed it, we'll have to go next year, but I'm going for Christmas. Well, you'll get that anyway. You'll get the Christmas stuff anyway. Also at Magic Kingdom, there are a couple of chances to go and see the New Year's Eve fireworks. In fact, there's 4 chances to see the New Year's Eve fireworks. And this is my top tip for this episode. So, Magic Kingdom will show the fireworks twice on the 30th and then again on actual New Year's Eve. So early in the evening and then midnight on the 30th and again on New Year's Eve the 31st, early in the evening and midnight. So there's 4 chances to see the fireworks, the New Year's Eve fireworks at Magic Kingdom. Epcot, you've only got 1 chance at seeing the New Year's Eve fireworks, and that's New Year's Eve at midnight. So here's my top tip for you. Go for New Year's Eve at Magic Kingdom and then go over to Epcot for New Year's Eve. And also, here's another extra top tip. 7 p.m. on New Year's Eve, if you're at Epcot, head over to the UK Pavilion. You might see my old friend Nate, paging Mr. Morrow. He might be there. He likes to go there at 7 o'clock to welcome in the new year in the UK Pavilion on UK time, and then the crazy fireworks at midnight. So there's plenty of chances to welcome in the New Year's Eve a number of times if you go in. Don't forget to tag us in your pictures as well. I'd love to share those. And make sure you have subscribed to the podcast. We're taking a New Year break now, but we will be back later on in February, so make sure you don't miss that first episode. Hit that subscribe button and it'll be there when we're back in the new year. Have an incredible Christmas. I hope it gives you everything you want. Remember, I am a size 12 in a Walt Disney World holiday. And have a very happy new year too. And until next time, please stand clear of the doors.